Hi there, my name is Kendrick, and today I get to interview Paul. So Paul, welcome.
Hey, thank you.
So Paul, can you tell us your full type, please?
Okay, my type is INTJ jumper, NI-FI, sleep, consume, blast, play last. Oh, and FM audio or FM visual.
And
Learning.
when you got your results back, what did you think and how did you feel?
Yeah, it was pretty intense. I did the whole I was in Discord with a bunch of people because I did the interviews with Austin and Guy, and a bunch of people guessed for me. So yeah, it was pretty intense because I don't like, I guess, to be in that state of not knowing something, and a bunch of people guessed my type, and it's like they were off a little bit, but it wasn't super surprising. The IJ part wasn't super surprising. Everyone who kind of saw me was like, yeah, you're definitely an IJ. So but it was cool to be in Discord with everyone and kind of reveal my type there. So it was good.
That's cool. And as we mentioned before we started the interview, you look and sound like Liam Neeson. Like, how do you feel about that?
Do you want me to do the Liam Neeson impression? If you don't like this video, if you don't subscribe to Kendrick's channel, I'll find you. I'll make life difficult for you.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That line taken.
Yeah.
I mean, I can see the tone and the inflection. I mean, I don't have the Irish accent, kind of like what I was saying before, but there was another type twin that I was unfamiliar with, and I thought I was a little more, he resonated a little more with me. Expression, he has like a music channel, I don't know, you can look it up on the Airtable if anyone's unfamiliar with it, but he was pretty interesting.
So first question is, how do you feel knowing that you are one of the more rarer INTJ type, like being FM? Like there's not many.
Yeah.
You're the first one actually that's a jumper. Lindsay being the first, but she's standard.
Right. I mean, yeah, it's cool. When I first started doing this, I figured there was something up with me. I thought I was probably gonna be a rare type just because it takes a lot of convincing for me to do something. And like I knew about OPS for like 2 years before I actually was convinced to get typed. And then just like doing this interview, it's not like something supernatural for me. I'm kind of doing this, I guess, maybe in an altruistic way, but to give back to the community. If someone sees kind of like, someone like me before, like, oh yeah, that's some weird like INTJ type person. So
yeah. Yeah, no, that's good for sure, because I think a lot of people definitely want to see more FM INTJs, and jumpers are always interesting. Play last is also quite rare, so you have a lot of rareness going on for you. You're also quite close to Steve Jobs type, being play last, and but I think he's more of a blaster than you are. Is that right? No, you're about the same.
I didn't well, I don't know what Jobs animal stacks is. What's his is he
I think he's like you, sleep, blast, consume, play, but he's double masculine, so very close to you.
Okay, right.
Yeah. So I want to ask you about that masculine extrovert thinking. That's the first one I want to ask you about. It's single activated, but how do you relate with that sentiment where you perceive the tribe as a threat, and you're kind of like not saying the victim, but you're like the tender person that could easily be hurt?
Yeah, I definitely have a sensitive side, especially when I was younger, for sure. I didn't see, I don't really see the TE in me at all. At least coming from Myers-Briggs, it's the TE is kind of harsh there. But in the OPS lens, I guess TE is kind of more like, which makes sense to me, like see the task, do the task, no BS, FE in between. So that kind of makes sense to me. I'm just kind of see task, do task, I guess going back to your question, more of I see the tribe as a threat for sure. Like people are crazy, man. People are chaos, and I don't like that. And so just kind of learning typology has helped me tremendously, and I've known about Myers-Briggs, I've known about Enneagram for like over 15 years. So yeah.
So as an IJ, your biggest fear is chaos. And every IJ is a little bit different. And in your case, because you're play last, would you say it's accurate to say that you're more scared of the chaos caused by people as opposed to objects? Because you do have consume activated. I mean, you're still double demon with that extrovert sensing at the bottom. But
yeah, it's definitely by the people, not by the objects. Just people are like super unpredictable just in general, kind of like what I was saying. Like I don't even understand why objects would cause me issues really. I kind of thought I was an observer at first. If you have people issues or object issues, I definitely feel like I have people issues more than object issues, even now that I've been typed. So
I see. So you thought you were a decider, and then turns out you are an observer and you're a double decider. Can we talk about the double decider part of it? How did you relate to knowing that you are a double decider? Can you see that? Was that something you were able to see?
I got my type back last week, so I honestly haven't really processed some of these things. I mean, what does even mean that I'm a double decider? I mean, what is that? I don't even know.
Well, it means that you can see your perspective and other people's perspective. So yes, you would rage at the tribe, but at the same time, after that rage subside, you're like, okay, I see why they did that.
Yeah. So it might piss me off at first, but that's how I kind of process things, how I go through my and over time that dies down. Yeah, I can definitely I can see other people's perspectives, no issue.
Okay. But you're still play last, so people are still a big problem. Can you talk about what specific people problem do you have? I mean, we can use the word chaos, but in your own words and in your own experience, what has been like the biggest problem with people for you?
Yeah, so like I mean, when people like if people want to joke around with me, I'm just like, and I don't think they're funny. I'm just kind of like, I won't like fake it. I'll just be like, all right, and people will get upset. I've noticed that people will get upset that I don't play along with them.
Yeah.
Like if I'm at work, and someone wants to joke around with me, like I'm just like, just stop, it's just like, what are you doing? But like, it depends on where I'm at. If I'm at work, I'm super serious. If I'm doing this interview, I tone it down a couple of notches. It's whatever. There's nothing on the line for this interview, so to speak. So,
gotcha. What has your experience been like with family and friends? Having play last. Do you cause them grief with that play last, or what's going on there?
yeah. I mean, people. I mean, my family, I guess, is just used to it. I mean, it's they're just used to me. My friends, I feel like don't mind my play last, maybe. The people that I, consider friends, I don't think it's a big deal. So, I mean, play last, it's kind of like, it kind of ties into sleep first almost. It's like, sometimes I just don't want to do stuff, and I've lost in my life. I've lost friends, unfortunately. So that's been tough. People that I consider very close friends, and it's just like, and this is in my youth. This is probably like, around high school, college, kind of when people stereotypically lose friends. But you know, I feel like I've grown in that aspect, and I try not to lose people now. So
Gotcha. Well, I guess that's where the double decider came in. You like figured it out
yeah,
by the time
yeah,
you finish high school and college. Yeah.
yeah.
Um, you are double activated sleep, and your sleep is
Mm,
NIFI. And Dave calls it hippie. Um,
yeah, yeah.
I don't know how you relate to that sentiment or that saying, being like I guess a hippie.
Yeah, yeah, no, I've thought about that this past week, and like I come off as a hippie, in a way, but behind that is not a hippie at all. I can be kind of cutthroat in a way. Um, so I'm kind of coming to terms with that. I don't want to be I don't want to be fake, but in some way I am fake. So, but I do feel like there's good if someone's a dick to me, I that kind of pisses me off. I kind of do have the hippie to get along on a persona basis. I kind of want everyone to be like in that way. Um, so I don't know if that answers that.
You said you don't want to be fake, but it kind of is. So the
Mm,
way they describe play last individual is similar to the sleep last, where they are not energy dominant. They're more obsessed with the accuracy of information. The play last people are also losing energy, but in a different way than the sleep last individuals. So sleep last is obvious, not enough rest, right? But the play last apparently puts on like a persona or a facade that they
yeah.
present to the tribe. And when you're putting that on the whole day, that is exhausting, essentially, and hence how you would lose energy. Do you see yourself doing that personally? And do you see yourself losing, like feeling exhausted, like at the end of the day when you
Yeah. Well,
put the
yeah.
weight on
No,
that?
I heard you say that in a previous interview, and maybe when I was younger, I would put on more of a persona. Now I'm a little more carefree, and um, but the issue is when you're around. Okay, so what's difficult with play last when you're around so many people, you have to put a persona because like you can't be authentic when you're around so many people. This one-on-one interview is cool, because I can kind of drop my guard. But like when there's like a bunch of people around me, then that's when it gets weird. And I can't be like, I have to put up that mask, because it's chaotic. And so that's kind of, I thought about that. Yeah.
How does the mask in a group situation protect you?
Um, I mean, well, it depends if people, you're just losing energy in a way. I don't know. It's hard for me to explain that. It depends if I know the people or not. So yeah, it's hard for me to be myself around a bunch of people. So
Even if
I
you
don't
know
know
them,
why.
like what if they're like family?
No, if I know, mm, even if it's close family or yeah, I can definitely put on a persona around family too. I'm definitely, and then you can tie that into NI. I think NI is very very secretive. You
Right.
know, I like to be secretive in a way. Um, so
since you mentioned NI, your NI is masculine NI, which I see as quite a crazy function because
Yeah.
it's so set on the future projection and plan essentially. And maybe for you it's slightly better because you are info dominant, so you can still see potential chaos because you do have consume. It's third, but it's there, it's functional. How do you personally
I'm consumed second, actually.
oh, are you sleep consume?
Yeah, sleep consumed.
Sorry, I thought you were
No,
sleep.
yeah, no, I'm sleep consumed. Yeah.
Okay, my bad. So yeah, you have high consume, so you definitely know what's coming. So with your masculine NI, but savior consume, what is the dynamics going on there? Like you have a confident future projection, but then all this new data is coming in that could potentially topple that plan. How do you deal with it when that happens?
I like to stick to routines, and when it does happen, it doesn't freak me out that much. But it does maybe. Let me give you an example. I host on Airbnb. So I host on Airbnb, but it's also in my house. So I share 2 rooms. And like if someone brings in a person that's unexpected, that's not fun. So it's rare that it does happen. So I'm pretty calm, and not a lot gets under my skin. I guess I can foresee a lot of things, really. So I'm not sure how that ties in. I guess my consume, I do a lot of research. Consume to me seems to be my strongest. When I was kind of trying to do the self-typing, I saw the consume for sure. So I do a lot of research on a lot of things. I did research on you, Kendrick, just, your travel website. I've watched a lot of your interviews, had kind of an idea what you would be asking me. So, yeah.
Well, that's a good thing. Your consume is interesting because it's double feminine. So do you find yourself forgetting stuff that you've already researched?
Yeah, but I won't go over it again. Like I won't watch the same movie, the same. I'll go over. Yeah, that kind of tripped me up that I had double feminine consume, because it feels super strong, like consume. So I was like, double feminine consume. I was like, all right. So I'm still kind of processing that, because that kind of just seems like all I want to do on my weekends. It's just on my time off. It's just consume stuff. So I don't know what it means to be double feminine consume, just kind of I guess forgetting stuff. And just going over it somewhat sometimes. I don't mind doing that. I don't mind going over the same stuff again, but like it's not ideal.
Maybe what's happening is, from what I've seen, people with masculine FI and feminine extrovert sensing who are like INTJ, is they still prefer to consume the same thing, like their favorites. So
Yeah.
maybe because the FI is feminine, like you forgot what your favorite is, so it's okay for you to jump to something new. I'm just guessing. I don't know if that's factual or not.
Yeah, could be. I definitely have my favorite stuff that I like to consume. I have my boxes, of things. Like I like stocks, the stock market. I like to read graphic novels, and I'm into typology. That's another one of my boxes, and sports.
Okay, you seem like to have a diverse interest.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
yeah, it's not common for INTJs, but you know, you are not the usual INTJ. So okay, that's
yeah,
interesting info there. Your blast is double masculine. That's like the opposite of your consume.
yeah,
Do you relate with that double masculine NT blast? You know, the figuring things out and
yeah. So before, OPS, I was typed. I always thought for the past 15 years, I thought it was an INTP, by the
oh,
way. Um, and I'm an Enneagram 5. So I think, um, I clearly resonated with, introverted thinking for a while. And that, I guess, did me well. I guess it was a demon all along. So it didn't hurt, to consider myself an INTP for such a long time. I do think people see me. This is the part that I think that people see me as, though, at the double masculine blast NT. Because when I was in the Discord, and I was just like blasting a whole bunch of information, people are like, whoa, slow down. That's a lot of information, dude. And I think I can be like that because I come prepared with information, and I'm just like, bam, there's all my information. When people saw my typing video, it's like, whoa, man, you are giving out a ton of information. So not a lot of people really saw me as NI. Most people saw me as SI, actually. An ISTJ is what most people saw me as.
okay. Well, I guess the IJ part was still pretty obvious.
Yeah, it was super beneficial. I wasn't shocked about the IJ. At first, when people were saying I was IJ, it was a shock. So yeah.
I think maybe your blast is super strong also because besides the fact it's your first two function, you're also super process double activated sleep. So whatever you blast is, you've thought about it so thoroughly.
Yeah.
No stones left untouched. It's as perfected as possible. And perhaps that's why it has like that extra flavor of like power to it.
Yeah, man. Yeah, like I definitely pre-process a lot of things. Like for the first hour of my day, like I'm just kind of like laying in bed thinking about the day, kind of thinking about what I'm going to be saying, or just thinking about certain things that might happen and how to react to that. So not a lot surprises me in that way. So
The one thing about NIFI that I'm curious about is the act of planning ahead so that nothing will emotionally catch you. And if there is like a negative event that happens where you're supposed to feel sad or some sort of negative emotion, because you've already planned ahead, when that happens, you're kind of stoic. Do you see yourself doing that, or is that still a challenge because you do have feminine FI still, you know?
yeah, no, I mean, it's still a challenge if it hasn't happened to me before. So for example, like this year, the stock market is doing awful. And, I started seriously investing maybe about 5 years ago with my method or whatnot. And this is the first year um, that I'm experiencing losing money. The stock market's down about 20% right now. So everyone's kind of losing money. But like theoretically in my model, I know it's coming. It's inevitable. If you're in the stock market, you're going to lose money. But since this is the first time it's happened, around February, March, it's like, man, this really stinks. But by like, I had tough time dealing with that. But now since it's like May and June, it's kind of like, oh, okay, now it's just more of the same. So I can't avoid that unless if it's just for the first time has happened to me. And I think Dave has kind of talked about that before, how he kind of wants to turn down his emotional response, like, oh, in like his marriage, for example, like if he gets mad at Shan for whatever, some BS that has hurt him emotionally, he wants to, instead of 24 hours being mad, he wants to turn that down to like 12 hours. So I think it's, for me, I mean, for what I'm trying to say is, the more if it hasn't happened to me, I will get emotionally hurt or whatnot. And the more it happens, less and less. So
it's interesting that you're talking about the stocks and use that as an example. I remember Tim Ferriss. He's also play last INTJ. He's tribe above self. However, I remember him talking about stocks also, and he said that he can't do it because he's the kind of, I guess, being info dominant, you are obsessed with the information, and it's because it's also extrovert sensing. It's what's happening like now in like the moment, and it freaks him out seeing like those dips. I mean, if you know the long term, stock market goes up and down, but in general, the trend is up, right? In general, yeah, unless you're in Japan where you're in a permanent, bad situation,
right.
But and then just on the flip side, that's why he can't handle it, because it has too much emotional hits, right? But then you have like Warren Buffett, who is an ENTP, and he just leaves all his money in the stocks, and he doesn't care, because he knows he trusts the
process. Yeah,
he trusts the process,
Yeah. No, I've studied Buffett and whatnot, and I've had to kind of adapt. I definitely have taken that mindset, because it's practice, man. Like if you are going to get scared of losing money, you're going to not be good in the long run. So it's practice. Yeah.
Would you say that's like emotional practice? Because Warren Buffett has TI, so he's not really freaking out about this stuff. For him, it's just logic, right?
I would say it's emotional. Practice for sure.
Your FI is feminine. Is it when you drop that mask and you go home, do you find yourself like it's easy for you to cry and get really emotional and sad and happy, and almost like FE, like range of emotion?
Yeah. I wouldn't say cry, perhaps. I haven't cried in a while, but I can definitely get emotional just kind of by myself. I won't reveal that side of me too much. So
no worries, dude.
It's fine. I mean, there's definitely a different, the way I react, at my house, might be, and it's all like, it's not like a super like crazy process, because it's FI, it's kind of hard to explain.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, it might be the same with you or not, but I definitely do. Will have different emotions at home compared to out in public or around people, for sure.
I think we both share the FI. I think the difference is mine is attached to SI and yours is attached to NI. So there is that. I do find that there is quite a difference, but the FI in general, I think we can relate. With that. I think SI is a lot of reflection as opposed to future projection. So there's that slight difference there. And then your consume is gonna be different than mine. Also, yours SF consume, mine's NF. So there's gonna be differences in how we take things in. Okay. Let's talk about your sexual modalities. You are visual and tester. Okay, so visual is pretty obvious. Why don't we start with that? Talk about learning from seeing and memory coming from the visual and stuff.
Yeah, I definitely have been thinking about this one. I feel like I can teach myself a little better, self-taught almost in a way, more than like I struggled in college. I feel with some of like the lectures and some like the theoretical concepts. A lot of that just kind of went over my head. So I'm not totally in tech, but that's kind of, I guess, my specialty. I work at a funeral home. So people come to me for tech advice for sure. And like I work a lot with Photoshop. I'm good with like doing marketing in that regards. I remember in one of your videos, you said like the IJs are good at marketing.
Oh my God, yes.
So like combined with Photoshop, like I do a lot of the like advertisements for the funeral homes, or like, and it's pretty amazing what I'm just like kind of like a machine, and I've become very good at Photoshop. I do slideshows for the funeral home, and people give me like, hundreds of photos, and I really enjoy that aspect of my job. And I just grind on that for a lot of my job. I do like portraits. So it's all kind of like it's media oriented is my job, and it's been such a perfect fit. So I do like a lot of with tech, you have the front end, the visual aspect of tech, the website, like kind of like design. I developed a website for our local cemetery, for example. And it's just like taking pictures. I do like a lot of the studio pictures for the people at the funeral home for our staff. So that aspect is really good, and I feel like a lot of that I've learned on my own. Compared to like like in college, I feel like I didn't learn that much. So
I don't think anyone does.
yeah. So I don't know.
Do you like that artistic side of you then quite a bit? Like, is that something that, if you had like a lot of money, you would just pursue that? And
Yeah. I feel like I feel like I would, but like right now I don't have the energy. It doesn't make the TE sense to do that. I feel.
Right. Yeah.
But I feel like that would be interesting for me to explore that. And just kind of do there's different things you can do with the computer graphics is definitely something that would interest me.
Right. Yeah.
So
It does seem like a lot of INTJs, after they got typed by OPS, it's surprising how many of them are some sort of artists, and I'm always
yeah, that's I mean, if you read Carl Jung, that's NI. Carl Jung is I like to read Carl Jung's typology. That kind of almost grounds me in a way. I've been big in that for a while. But if you read Jung, I mean, he's like NI is artists and poets, seers. So yeah, it doesn't surprise me. And cranky people too sometimes.
Yeah. Well, especially if you have masculine DE,
Yeah. Me.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is weird because then you probably don't perceive yourself as that, but
No, I can be moody for sure. I can be moody. So it is what it is.
I guess, yeah, feminine FI, definitely moody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's one more thing I want to bring up about FM.
Okay.
I love to read, this is kind of new, but I love to read graphic novels.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I don't know if you're into that at all, but like, I feel it's just such like, it brings me just so much joy in my life. It's just something new. And I feel like we're kind of in like a golden era of graphic novels that not a lot of people know about. And it's kind of like in the 90s, like music was just like, I feel like at its peak with CDs, it was just amazing. So I feel like now there's just so much, that medium is really kind of, I don't know if it's undiscovered, but I think it's pretty amazing. So
Are you talking about comics or is that something else?
I mean, it's comics, but it's not like superhero stuff. So I mean, you've heard of like The Walking Dead. There's one right here. Deadly Class. They made a TV show out of it. Like a lot of like TV shows these days.
Can I see the inside?
It's in.
Oh, it's sealed.
But like I don't know. do you like sci-fi? Are you into like NF consume? Are you more like in sci-fi or like that?
Yeah, I like fantasy and sci-fi with like dragons and stuff, or and
Okay.
that kind of stuff. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So
yeah,
this
yeah.
is
No, I
more.
would, yeah, I love that kind of stuff. Yeah, yeah.
So
I do love comics.
you're into comics?
I mean, I'm more so when I was younger. I just don't have. Right now I'm playing a lot of video games. So when I do have a spare
Yeah.
time, I'm playing video games. But you know, I do love comics. Like you know, I used to read like obviously the Marvel stuff, but I used to like Archie comics too. And and
Right.
yeah,
No, this is I used to be in video games. I had like a big issue with video games. So like I like addiction wise, like video game
yeah,
addiction. When I was younger, like I was like the kid who would play video games for like 12, 13 hours a day. And this was when I was like 13, 14, when the internet like very first came out. It was brand new. And I was like,
yeah,
holy crap. And like video game addiction wasn't a thing back then.
yeah.
And it's like, okay, I have a big issue, you know. It's like so I literally I can't, it's like a drug. I can't play video games.
How old are you, by the way?
I'm 38.
Oh, dude, we're the same age. Holy crap.
Oh, you and okay, you and I had an interview with Guy Linares.
Okay.
Shout out Guy. Guy's 38 as well.
Yeah.
I thought you were younger than me actually by a little bit, but
Well, I'm Asian, so I don't age. Plus, I work in fitness, so you know, working out and stuff. But
yeah.
yeah, I totally relate to what you said. Like our generation, definitely, dude. Like we were hit hard by that shit. No one no one that could have prepared us for the video game addiction stuff. Like it was so good. Like it was like new. It was so good. I couldn't believe how awesome it was. And you know, I mean, you started off with the 56K modem, and then it went to like cable, and then like suddenly, oh my god, with cable you could like it's so good. Like, it's even better. Like I don't know what game you played, but I was addicted to StarCraft. You know.
Okay. I mean I dabbled in StarCraft and Warcraft. What was bad was the MMORPGs.
Oh, like World of Warcraft? Is that what killed you?
No, the very first one was EverQuest.
Oh, I've heard of that. Yeah, I didn't play that one.
And I ended up selling my characters when I was like 14, 15 for like a couple grand. Like
Wow.
And that was like big money when I'm like that young. And,
yeah, it is. It is a lot of money when you're.
It wasn't, I don't know, it wasn't worth it looking back at it. Like I figured, like I did the calculations from my time played. It came out to like $2 an hour of game time played. I was just like,
wait. So you played it to earn money, not at first. Not at first. I was generally like into it, and then I saw it was like a thing that people were selling their characters, and I was just like, well, it was kind of like a no-brainer to sell it. So well, dude, at 14, even though you spent a lot of time doing it, you couldn't have gotten a job anyways. So it was still good, you know.
Yeah, no, I did have a job. I had a job, a summertime job in 14, but it wasn't like a full-time job. It was just like I could only work like, I don't know, you can only work like 4 hours a day or 6 hours a day or something silly.
Okay. I totally get what you said about the video game addiction thing. And after I did stop, I stopped around like I think 20 when I was 21. When I was 21, I stopped because I knew it was ruining my life.
Yeah.
But so I stopped for like I think 15 years or something. And then I just got back when PlayStation 5 came out, like I bought it. And then dude, I was like, oh my god, there's like a part of me that just that came back. But I noticed that I'm older. It doesn't interfere anymore.
Okay.
I don't know why. Like I know like, okay, there's this, like let's say I'm playing an RPG. I know I can hit the save point and I'm okay resuming the next day. You know? But it's nice to have something to look forward to, like, you know, like a childhood enjoyment of some sort, you know. But
yeah. I mean, I get that. I just had to I replaced that with these books now. So
that's probably better. So
yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of cool that we grew up in the same generation, so we experienced all the same, you know, good and bad.
Right.
Right. All right, dude. We're gonna wrap up the interview pretty soon. I'm not sure if I miss asking you anything. So maybe I'll ask you two more questions. First one is a tester. We haven't covered that one yet.
Yeah.
So that's like with smell, essentially, or taste. How do you personally experience that?
Oh, yeah. I guess maybe not so much with smell. I mean, the thing that comes to mind is just trying different diets out.
Okay.
I don't know if I don't know if you can tell, like I'm pretty skinny or whatnot, but I definitely have tried a bunch of like crazy different diets just to like try to like put on weight. And I've done that, pretty well. Like I'm into fitness or whatnot. I have like a home gym. So like that's definitely replaced video games in a way. So I definitely have tried different diets out. And what works for me is eating a lot of carbohydrates. So so I mean I guess that's the way but I've just tried different things, different
Right.
diet. I've tried the high like eat protein, high protein.
Yeah.
So I just need to eat a lot of carbohydrates. I mean, I guess that's testing with different smells. That's kind of hard to describe, but or really explain. I've tried like fasting for a while. I've tried like fasting, like I've gone like days without eating food.
Yeah.
Um, so that's pretty interesting. So I'm not afraid to do crazy stuff for sure. Like test the limits.
Yeah, I noticed that. That's
Because
that's a thing for like some like Tim Ferriss, like the info dominant INTJs. Yeah, they seem to like to experiment with this kind
I
of
think
stuff.
David Blaine won. I think he's an INTJ. Is he officially typed? I think he is.
He's an INTJ, yeah. He's sleep
Yeah.
consumed also, but he might be blast last, I think. So he's energy dom. I don't know if you've seen Joe Rogan interviews, but he
Yeah.
interviewed Dr. Rhonda Patrick. I don't know if you've seen that woman, but
Yeah, I know. Yep.
yeah. So basically, you can send like your 23andMe or other DNA tests into her website, and she can tell you your genetics and stuff. I don't know if you,
Yeah.
yeah. So I did that, and I was surprised because I'm like you. I tried different diets too. Like I've done paleo, keto,
Yeah.
like typical bodybuilding diet, like 40% carbs, 40% carbs, yeah, and then 40% protein and 20% fats. I've tried like a whole different stuff. And when I sent in my thing in her website, it's apparently I'm a protein type, which I was surprised. Like apparently the bulk of my diet has to be protein, followed by carbs and then fats. And I was like, oh my God, because when you follow the keto diet, they want you to go high fat, right? And
Yeah.
and then I'm like, oh my God. So that was bad for me actually, according to my genetics.
Right.
And I was always surprised how much carbs I can get away with. But it seems like at the end of the day, protein was the king. Like the more protein I ate, the better I felt. So I was like, okay, so I guess everyone is different. Like you can't just, people,
Absolutely.
people praise like the keto diet as the best. And yeah, I guess for like short-term weight loss, it's definitely the best, but I think I don't know if it's sustainable per se.
Sure.
You know,
Yeah, it's definitely different for everyone else. So
yeah. All right, dude. Do you have any final questions for me before we wrap up this interview?
oh yeah, I think so I think I heard in one interview you said you were like you can't like I guess imagine thing or what's like you going up there in your head. Can you visualize things like
Um,
very well?
no, it's hard. I don't visualize. Like I can't. Like it's better that I'm older now, but I vividly remember in my 20s, I don't see anything. There was nothing. Like I would try to visualize. Now there's like shadows, but when I was younger, it was absolutely nothing. It was blank. It's crazy. When I can feel, but it's auditory. My emotions is tied to my audio.
Yeah, that's pretty wild. And I'm kind of different in that regards because there's a lot kind of going on. I can definitely visualize. I think that's at the FM modality. It's kind of what
Yeah.
I've heard.
And also, when I started seeing things in my 30s through visualization, like when I finally started seeing images, there was no emotion attached to the image. Zero,
Mm,
zilch. It was so weird because people tell me it's like, okay, when you're goal setting and you're trying to work on visualization, because visualization is a good way for you to achieve results. You know, part of it is feeling what you're seeing, right? But I don't feel anything, so it was a terrible exercise for me to do. And then, you know, there's people like you who's a visual, and it's like boom, you know, you see an image, lots of emotion pours in, and I'm like, I cannot. I wish I could know how that feels, but I don't.
Yeah, that kind of blows my mind. I don't. You just don't think about that, but yeah.
I think Dave said also he can't visualize also. You know.
Okay.
Yeah, and when he said it, I was like, oh my God, I'm not alone. You know, I'm not like the only you know, person who can do this. But not all MFs cannot visualize. There are MFs who can do the visual stuff. So it's, you know, they're more like the outlier, you know. Like, you know, just like there's FMs who are really good with audio also. You know, like Taylor Swift, right? She's FM and she's a music, like she makes music. So so there's always exception to the rule. All right, cool, man. We'll wrap it up here. So thanks, Paul, for coming out and doing this interview, and you know, getting a chance to get to know you better.
Yeah, man, for sure. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, for sure. Take care, dude.
Peace.